Greetings, everyone. Welcome to Mazda U.S. College Prep Webinar Day 7, a one-of-a-kind exclusive webinar creating to celebrate Mazda Thailand's 72nd anniversary and ongoing support of Mazda U.S. College Prep Junior Golf Championship Tournament, featuring 72 U.S. college coaches and partner organizations in 3 weeks. My name is Keo Jai Naksakun, a senior advisor of ARD Agency College Recruit Consulting Team. I will be your webinar host today. And with me is AR Senior Consulting Global Director, Kun Jum Juthamat Tajumpa. Hello.
Hi, Sawadee. So I'm Jim. I'm Senior Global Director, and I'm glad that the coaching having sharing the questions and also this week we're gonna having the Mazda Tournament College Prep in Pattaya. So looking forward to see everyone there. Thank you.
Thank you, Kun Jum. I also have the Senior Consulting Global Advisor, Kun Tan Chanok Naat Kamkiti, with us.
Hello everyone, Sawadee ka. Welcome everyone to the series of the webinar with celebrating 70 Mazda Thailand with 72 coaches. So yeah, hope you enjoy and get a lot of information inside. Thank you.
Okay, let's all watch a short video recap of previous Mazda U.S. College Prep Junior Golf Championship together. Time to meet our coaches tonight, our special speakers. Please introduce yourself, and I will be asking the questions to you guys, all the questions about the questions most parents and kids are excited to know. After about 30-35 minutes, I will open up for questions from the audience. First up is Lin Yo, Chief Executive Officer of Singapore Junior Development Tour. Go ahead, Lin.
Hello, everyone. My name is Lynn. I founded SJTT in 2020 to provide a clear, structured junior developmental pathway that was lacking in Singapore. So basically, we wanted to create an entry level to introduce juniors to tournament golf in a less intimidating but fun competitive environment with emphasis on learning rules and etiquette. Our tiered system and relatively low barriers to entry compared to international tours make competitive golf more accessible to a wider range of young players in the region. And then our next step was the intermediate tier where juniors can play on full-length courses under proper tournament conditions. So we emphasize on a strong educational and rules-based component. And then the goal is to gradually bridge the gap between starter tournaments and the more elite junior events. So our tour is seen as a stepping stone where the junior graduates from SJTT to higher level competitions. And this clear pipeline provides goals and a sense of progression from absolute beginner to a potential national athlete. So we provide a competitive platform for local and regional based juniors without the need for extensive international travel. So this is briefly what SJDT is about.
All right. Thank you, Lynn. Next up is Coach Stu Burke, head coach at Kansas State University. Hi, Stu.
Hi, everybody. My name's Stu Burke. I'm the head coach at Kansas State University. We compete in one of the Power Four conferences, the Big 12. This is my second year as head coach at Kansas State. I've been coaching at the NCAA Division I level for 13 years. At Kansas State, we really pride our program on player development and helping players get to the next level. I've been really fortunate over my coaching career to have coached a U.S. Open champion, a U.S. amateur champion, and just last year the Augusta National Women's Amateur Champion Carla Burnett played for the Kansas State Wildcats. So I think this is a great opportunity to learn a lot about college golf. We have a number of international players on our team. We have 4 players from Asia on our team right now. And really in our recruiting, we are looking for the best players from around the world to come and help our program compete for a national championship.
Thank you. You are doing very well. And last but not least, Coach Marcelo Huarte from University of South Alabama.
Hey,
Alabama.
everybody. Yeah. Hey, everybody. Good to see you. My name's Marcelo Huarte. I am the women's head golf coach here at South Alabama. Going on my 3rd year now here at South. I'm originally from Miami, Florida, and I played my college golf down in Miami at Barry University. Tried to play professionally for a couple of years and quickly got into coaching after that. I got the opportunity to coach at the school that I played at Barry. I was the assistant there for a couple of years. And then got my first head coaching opportunity at Lynn University, another Division II school down in South Florida. Then was at Miami, and now I'm here at South Alabama. And similar to what Stu said, we really pride ourselves on development. I think definitely the route I've taken as a coach, starting at that Division II level, and working my way up. Something that I take a lot of pride in is definitely seeing my players develop and make a lot of improvement in a short amount of time. So excited to be here with everybody and share some important information, and looking forward to it.
Well, thank you all for being here with us tonight and sharing your knowledge. So let me just kick it off with more questions for Lynn, since she already started introducing the SJDT. I will know more SJDT and out from other golf tournament organizer in Asia and around the world.
Well, I suppose we stand out because we're built with the long-term journey of the junior golfer in mind. So it's not just about finding out who's the best golfer today. It's about preparing every player to be more knowledgeable and more resilient tomorrow. We may not be the biggest tour. We're definitely the most purposeful and well-structured. So we understand that golfers start at a very young age now. So by allowing them to participate in tournaments whereby we're focused, on rules, etiquette, and pace of play, we feel that that would prepare them well for the future when they step up to national or international events. Our goal is to transition from a very young player to an elite amateur, and then to help them transition then to represent Singapore, and of course preparing them for college, and hopefully they can make the next jump to being a pro golfer. So our tour stands out because we recruit them from very young. So we provide the platform for them to compete under tournament conditions, rules-based, from as young as 5 years old. So they are well prepared. And this was lacking in Singapore.
Wow.
And I believe in the region as well. So some tours focus only on the bigger kids, some, on maybe the most elite, but we have tournaments, all year round, from 5 to even a professional ladies tournament. So we also run the China LPGA tournament. So we are actually providing really a pathway for a female golfer from a junior to all the way to professional golf. So, well, that's what SJTT is about.
Mhm. Yeah. You work on the membership, is that right? Membership system? How many members do you have right now?
Well, we invite players to be part of our team. So so that because we receive a lot of invitations to elite junior tournaments around the region. So our team members, if they're invited to be part of the team, then they have a chance to play in these elite tournaments. Because we have a lot of international players who are based in Singapore. Not everybody gets to represent the country at a young age. So I think it is quite cool that even at 8 years old, they get to represent a team. They get to be part of a team playing in an international tournament. So this is what we provide for the juniors. And we have, yeah, quite a lot of members. Yeah, quite a lot of members. But we're quite how shall I say? Well, they have to be of a certain ability, which means not just in terms of golf ability, but they must have the right attitude. They must have discipline, and they must have a passion and love for the game to be part of the team. And I think that's quite important, to succeed in golf. Yeah, and the parents also, they have to be very supportive.
That's right. Okay, we'll get back to you on more of how you develop your members, but can I just ask the two coaches about the recruiting process for student athletes or those with talent? May I start with Stu? Coach, I understand coaches play a big role in recruiting process. What are the main quality of golfers you are recruiting?
I think one of the first things that kind of catches our attention is obviously an introductory email. If we've not actually set eyes on them live or we've not seen their scores, is a good introductory email, just explaining a little bit about who you are, where you're from, a little bit about your golf background, and I would always include something like some swing footage in there. I'll be really honest with you. If somebody starts an email to me talking about their academics, I'm very unlikely to continue reading. We're golf coaches. Academics are important, but the first thing I want to know about is your golf background. What have you achieved within the game? What are you looking to achieve? What are some of your goals and aspirations? Then, if you've got the opportunity to link that to some footage of your golf swing, and ultimately, I mean, I'm sure Marcelo will agree, an upcoming schedule, because especially in women's golf, the talent pool is much smaller than the men's golf. So we're prepared to fly anywhere in the world to watch players play. And if we know the schedule and the tournaments you're going to be playing in, and if we get close to making a decision that we want to offer you a scholarship, we're probably going to want to come and see you play live before making that investment in you.
Yeah. Yeah, so their future plan of what tournaments they're gonna compete in is important because coach can plan your time as well. So what do you think is the important factors, tournament statistic or potentials and character? Stu?
I think it's a little bit of a blend of both. At Kansas State, we're looking for players that haven't really reached their ceiling. There's a lot of players in junior golf that are already as good as they're going to be, and you can kind of figure out where they would plug into your program, what number they would play, how they could assist. But really, that's not what we're looking at. We've got some great case studies. When I was at Southern Cal, we had Allison Corpus, who for a lot of the time was our 5-6 player through those first couple of years, who had a high ceiling, who had good technique and just needed a little bit of refining in certain areas. And obviously she's had a really successful career. She's won a major. She's playing in the Solheim Cup now. And the same with Carla Bernat. When I went to watch her in Spain, she had a little bit of a different move, different technique, and I could tell that she hadn't reached her potential. Whereas her swing put a few coaches off, and we were really lucky to get her at Tulane. because she was became an elite player. So a little bit of both. I mean, I think, potential is a big thing, but you've got to be able to shoot some scores and show some show some ability to compete, because at the end of the day, the number is what's going to be most important in college. That's how you're judged on your performance, but the character and the potential is what's going to really get you noticed.
Do you agree with that, Marcelo? Can you second to that? And also, can I ask you more specifically about how you evaluate junior golfers from international, like from Asia?
Yeah, definitely. Well, five of our 8 players are international. So we've got a good mix. I don't always get the opportunity to watch players while we recruit them. It all depends on the recruiting process and kind of when it starts with them. But there's so much that goes into how we evaluate players. And the first piece is obviously, as Stu said, right, your golf background, and as a matter of fact, just what your scores are, right? It doesn't mean you have to be winning every tournament you play in. There's certain things that I look for. If I see some low scores in there, that always catches my attention. My thought has always been, if you can put a low round together, I can help you get the high round a little better, cleaning up some stuff. But the main thing I look for is progress. What does your swing look like over the last couple of years? Sometimes I'll go on a recruit's Instagram and see some swing videos that they posted 2 years ago, and compare it to what it looks like now, to see if there's been any progress and what it looks like. Do they have the ability to obviously work hard and improve the things they need to get better at? And the second piece is definitely the character, right? There's a lot of talented players, but being successful in college golf and at the next level requires a lot more than just talent. You have to have the ability to kind of to manage yourself, manage your life. You're going to be away from home, how you manage your schoolwork. And you've got to really have the discipline. I really try to, throughout the process, figure out how bad do you really want it? How bad do you really want to be great? And in my experience on a recruiting call, everybody always says they want to be great. I have not yet to this day had one call where a player has told me, no, I don't want to be that good. Everybody says they want to be the best, but it's what you do. Are you actually following through with what you say? So we'll ask around. We'll ask your coaches what they say about you. If there's people that I know that are in your circle, I'll reach out to as many people as I can to really get a full picture of who you are and what you do when nobody's looking, right? Throughout the process, you can see the scores. You can, I'll obviously gauge what the player is telling me, but it takes a lot more than that. So we try to get as much information as we can. And as Stu said, I think we're looking for players that obviously have not reached their full potential. And there's so many cases in which, you have these players come in and at the beginning, you don't really know how they're going to end up. And some players are much better coming in to their freshman year. And man, you fast forward 2 or 3 years and you'd be surprised how things kind of turn out. But every time the player that comes in and gets better every year and becomes a superstar and becomes an elite kind of player, they all have that work ethic and the discipline and the desire to really be the best they can be. So again, I know a little bit of a long-winded answer, but there's a lot that we look into, right? Scores and your character.
Yeah. Well, I guess that they're all inspired, but it depends on who deliver. And so can I ask Lynn, how do you help the kids and the families, to start developing their goals to achieve, that potentials that coaches are looking for? Basically, what roles at SJDT help or does in order to prepare the golfers and families to be recruited from the U.S. coaches?
Hello. Sorry, I dropped off.
Okay, can you hear me, Lynn?
Yeah, back on. Sorry about that. Yeah. It's a bit laggy, so
Okay,
I can't
so
really hear.
okay, I'll make it the question shorter. Like, how do you prepare your golfers and families to be ready to be recruited?
Well, I think in Singapore, I mean, players that are based in Singapore, Malaysia, they have a disadvantage because, like Stu and Marcelo said, the coaches don't actually get to watch them play. They don't actually have the opportunity to play in front of coaches. So, I suppose what we need to do is to provide a competitive record that coaches can understand and trust. So our reputation for integrity and tough conditions gives our players scores high credibility. So the scoring average from SJTT is a reliable metric for a college coach assessing an international player. And we also normally have a large diverse fields so that if a player can learn how to stay focused and compete within a large group, I suppose that's essential too, because it would also as to show how they would perform in college events, right? So I believe that a junior golfer who has navigated the SJTT will enter college recruitment with a little bit of advantage. So they're not just a player with a good swing. They are tournament tested, they're mentally resilient, and a rules savvy competitor. So they understand how to prepare for a high stakes event, manage their game under pressure, and also conduct themselves as a professional. So these are the things that's how we prepare, how best we can prepare our players. So hopefully that, in the eyes of a coach, this maturity and readiness will make up for the lack of live viewing by the coaches, and it offers
Yeah.
them it helps them, right, with recruiting if they see our players. And we try to have a 54 holes tournament every single month. I mean, that's quite rare in Singapore, so we try to do that. They play 36 holes on day one, and then 18 holes on the second day. So 54 holes Wagga, and kids play that from age of 8. So the 8 to 12 years old, they play a slightly shorter distance, and then the 13 onwards, they all play from the same tees. So that's how we're kind of like preparing them
Wow.
under pressure. They're tired, so yeah,
Yeah.
just try to get them ready. So is
That's
that good for
serious
you?
training.
Are we doing the right thing? Well, we're not really training, but we're just providing a platform for them to get them ready. So yeah. So
Yeah.
yeah. So
Coaches
that
look happy. So
are we
yeah.
doing the right thing?
Then can
Thank you.
looks like you're doing the right thing. And so
Thank you.
when it
Yeah.
comes to recruiting, part of the, golf performances is one. And what about the academic? So you mentioned earlier that you're not really keen in, seeing a lot of the information about the academics, but how important is it to the admission office? And do coaches have any like advantages or any flexibility with the admission office in terms of the students' SAT score, English score, and things like that?
Yeah, we've got some good flexibility. Like first and foremost, they have to be NCAA eligible to play at the Division 1 level, so they need to have their core classes covered. I believe they need to have a GPA of around 2.3 or 2.5 as a freshman coming in. The last thing a coach wants to have to do is go through the whole recruiting process and then find out a player's not going to be eligible. So it's going to be one of the first things we encourage people to do is get signed up for the International Eligibility Center, have your grade 9, 10, 11, whatever year you're in and exams you've completed, have your school email them so they can start an evaluation so that we know where we're at. The earlier we find that you may be missing a class, you might not have a social science, or a social science in Thailand or Singapore or Japan might be classed as something a little different from it is in the US. It gives us time where you can take that class your senior year at your own high school, or you can do an online option through an American high school, which can take about 8 weeks if you choose to do that. At Kansas State, we have an ELP program, an English learning and proficiency. So if you come in and your TOEFL score is a little bit low, or your Duolingo score is a little bit low, we actually have our own test, which is called the Wildcat English exam. And depending on where you score on that, you can be put into some English classes just to help prepare you for regular classes. So your first semester, you'll mainly take them. The greatest part about that is one, it's intensive English. So you're learning as you go, you're learning reading, writing, speaking. And the flip side to that is they're also electives. So you're not going to lose progress towards your degree. You're still going to be able to graduate within those 4 years. So that's where we're a little bit we have a little bit of an advantage, I would say, over other universities. Our English language isn't hard and fast in terms of getting you in. The flip side to if you've got good grades and your English is good, you can help me because we have access to academic scholarship money as well. So if you come in and you've got a 3.5 grade point average or higher, you'll actually get around 25 to 30% academic funding from the university, which frees up some of my scholarship money that I can use as well. I can use in other places. I can help bring in a better teammate to support you, and really, boost the whole profile of the roster. So yeah, academics are important, but we're gonna make that extra special effort for the really talented golfer. If they're borderline eligible and we can get them in through the NCAA, we're gonna get you at Kansas State. We're gonna have you come play here. We're gonna make sure that you're well set up and taken care of through our tutoring and our time management program as soon as you come in. And then you'll flourish in these English classes, which I've seen with my four Asian players. Two of the four had to take them, and it's really helped them. It's helped them not just in a academic setting, but it's helped them in a social setting with their teammates, being able to communicate and understand jokes and things that they do on the team as well.
Yeah,
Sorry, Stu,
also
may I ask,
important.
sorry, I just like to ask, at what stage would you start following a player per se?
Well, right now it really depends. Because we've got so much more access to players than we've ever had. We can't talk to players until June 15th of their junior year. So obviously for Marcelo and I saw 2030 on Instagram the other day, and I was like, "Damn, that's a good golf swing." And it was just in one of the reels that was going through. I was sitting swiping during a rain delay. So something like that can spark our attention pretty early on, and having that profile, having that golf profile, maybe away from your own personal one, where you do put on swing videos and progressions and where you're playing and tournament results. It's very simple for a coach to go on and look there and start to follow you without actually making communication with you until they're allowed. That gives us a lot of information. So if you're a 2029, a 2030, a 2028, you can follow the schools and the coaches that you're interested in. I'd probably follow the coach more than the school because a lot of the university women's golf Instagram pages are managed by the sports information and not the coaches directly, because that's just one less thing that we're going to be working with.
I see. All right. It's pretty much the same at South Alabama. Marcelo, if golfers come in and if they're not doing great in academic performance, what resources do you have to support their grades, make them successful in classes?
Yeah. So we have the women's golf team has an academic advisor that tracks every player's progress. I get weekly reports on how they're doing in their classes, their exams, if they didn't turn in assignments, whatever it is. So we track that weekly. If a player starts to fall behind, we'll take action pretty quickly. We have a bunch of resources. We have tutoring, any help that you need to catch up in that class. We're going to provide that for you. And the other part too is just to make sure that the student is doing what they need to do. Are they communicating with the professor? As golfers, you do miss a lot of class time. So it's important to introduce yourself on the first day of class and let the professor know who you are and communicate properly that, when you're going out of town and the days you're going to be missing, and be proactive to, set up alternate times to maybe take an exam or turn in any classwork that might be due during those days. But we have all of the necessary resources. There's no excuse to fall behind. We monitor everything. We give you the support you need. And I tell freshmen when they come in, especially if they're international, it's never too early to start tutoring, right? If you feel, even if I have straight A students that go to tutoring, right? People think that it's just if you start falling behind. It's not the case. So if you need any extra help, or you benefit from having somebody there to walk you through things, then we definitely recommend it, and we'll do whatever we need to give you the support you need to be successful. And last year we had the highest GPA in all the teams on campus. We had a 3.88 GPA. And so, they're all good students. They work hard, and they work hard in the classroom as well.
Right. I understand the balancing the academic and golf performance is probably tough, especially for international students. But have you observed that there's any difficulties or more difficulties for certain majors, for like international kids to take?
Yeah, I mean, I would say the majority of them kind of specialize in business. There's business, sports management. I think those are a little easier. When you get into like the sciences and all those things, and psychology, philosophy, it gets pretty difficult. I have a 4.0 student that's international on our team, and whenever she takes those kind of classes, those sciences, the histories, all those things, it really gives them a hard time. They do well. Again, it's I think also if you study what you're passionate about, that's also a big help. But I would definitely say business is probably a little bit more international friendly, in my experience, at least the places that I've been.
Yeah. Okay. So balancing school and golf is probably a challenge, but doable, I would say, right? And so can I ask both coaches about your practice schedule? Stu, for your team, what does a typical week of practice, workout, and competition look like?
Yeah, it's we're again, we talked about the NCAA before. We're limited to 20 hours of skill instruction with our players during the season. So as coaches, we can kind of separate that into any way we like. We generally we have 3 workouts a week. We have 2 workouts on Tuesday, Thursday morning, and then we have a floating workout that the girls go in during open hours and they do with our strength and conditioning coach. And then we also have a fourth, well, I wouldn't call it a workout, but we do yoga with the team once a week. It's generally the Thursday before we travel on the Friday. We practice on Monday, Wednesday, Fridays in the morning, and Tuesday, Thursdays in the afternoon. So class schedules are all structured around our practice. In the morning on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, we try and play. We play as much as we can. Tuesday, Thursdays, more of a testing and technical day where we're running drills. We're really using and adding from the playing stats to, put together a good individual practice program. Golf's a very individual sport. You're not going to see our teams lining up like football and doing the same drill over and over and over again. They're going to be working on what they need, and especially for the freshmen coming in, the more golf we get to see, the more scores we get from them, the more we're going to be able to make a practice plan that's suitable for them. And really in the beginning, you're really just trying to gather as much data as possible to help you with those decision making progresses or processes. Pardon me. We don't use a stats company. We have our own stats metric that myself and my assistant coach have run up. The girls keep their stats in tournaments, and we run it through our own program. So that way we know what each player needs to work on. Everybody's got to have one day off a week. We generally give our players Sunday off because it's a true day off. They've got no school as well. And we've kind of got our finger on the pulse with our players too. Both my assistant and I, we lift with the team. We're just teammates during our lift. You know, that's all we're there for. The strength coach is the boss. They can get after us to lift harder, run faster, do better, just like we would with them at the golf course. So that gives us the opportunity to kind of know how they're feeling throughout the weeks. You know, if we've had a really heavy week with practice and lift, and you know, we may add an additional day off in there. And you know, ultimately, we've got the travel built into that as well. So we're always trying to peak just before a tournament. You know, we might go a little lighter and start to get heavier in the week, or
Mhm.
you know, with lift, we might start the week heavy, knowing we're leaving at the end of the week, and kind of go from heavy to light before prior to leaving. But you know, the lift never stops. You know, all these LPGA and PGA Tour players have their fitness instructors and their vans on the road. It's okay to be a little bit sore and uncomfortable, but that's how you know you're getting better.
Yeah, definitely. And do you provide like a customized schedule for each of your team member?
Yeah, everybody's got their own schedule in terms of their classes. You know, as Marcelo said, they go to class. They've got an academic counselor that will fit their classes to our practice schedule. The only thing in our team practice we'll do as a team is the timing. So we may be there from, you know, 9 till 11 o'clock, or 9 till 12 o'clock. Everybody will have something different they're working on. We're really lucky with our practice facility here. We have our own range area. We have our own short game area that's got 9 different greens we can hit to. So just because one person's working on one thing, somebody else might be working on something completely different. And as coaches, we're at every single practice. We're going to be monitoring. There's some players that can work independently on things. There's other players that are going to need a little more hands-on. There's other players that can take our technology. They can take our GC Quad or our TrackMan and go do what they need to do. And we can see the report afterwards. So yeah, everything's very individual. Like that's really truly the only way you're going to get better. And I do encourage anybody that's talking to college coaches to ask the question, how are you going to make me better? Because that's when you're going to get the answer in terms of your development.
Mhm.
May I ask a
Yep,
question,
I think that's
coaches?
important. Go ahead,
May I
Lynn.
ask a question on behalf of the players? So if you don't have an opportunity to watch a player play, and you know you just have a set of numbers, so what would you look at? What's important? The WAGA ranking, Junior Golf Scoreboard, scoring average, tournament results. You know what would catch your eye?
I would say everything. All of them are important. I think, you know, as Marcelo and I, if we were to discuss this off camera, we would pretty much be saying like, hey, this is how I've found success. You know, maybe I've taken their wagger and I've taken this tournament that I know that this player that I've coached in the past has played in, and this is where they finished, and I know how difficult that golf course is. Or I might call him and say, hey, I know you're maybe done with the class of 27. I'm still looking for a player. I know you've been in Thailand, or he might say, I know you've been in Singapore at that golf course. What do you think? It's amazing how much coaches will work together on those sort of things. Yeah, we're competitive, but when we're kind of done with our recruiting class, we're willing to help the other schools and answer those generic questions. Yeah, we're not going to give our secrets away, but you know, I think you'll find that there is a lot of competition between coaches, but you know, at the same time, I know that I can only recruit 1 or 2 players per year, and there's got to be 200 players good enough to play NCAA Division One golf. We just need to find the 1 or 2 that's best going to plug into our system, that we're going to help improve and really give them a great experience. And if they have a great experience, our team's going to be better. We're going to win more trophies, and then you know you got a happy coach.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. I mean, and you do like if
Mm-hmm.
you look at a tournament result, you look at where it was played, like if it's played on the championship course, and scores could be slightly higher, or someone shoots a 63 on the real tournament championship course, then that would also kind of like, hey, this girl's not bad, right? Something like that. Yeah.
Hey,
So
you shoot a
all these
63 on any
factors.
golf course, both of us are going to be looking at it. The 63 is
The
still
girl who's
63.
They will
just
be happy.
14-year-old who just shot 63. So,
Is that your score, Lynn?
huh?
Can, can,
Yeah. Well, maybe net score.
can I ask Marcelo then, preparing golfer is one, but then they have to be drafted for tournaments. How competitive are is it, to fight for that spot to be playing tournaments?
Yeah. So we have qualifying. I think obviously if I'm doing a pretty good job, then our qualifying at home is going to be very competitive. And I think competition makes everybody better. So at the beginning of the year, for example, we have an open qualifier. So we'll play 5 rounds, and then the 5 low scores will go to the first tournament. It doesn't matter if you were the freshman of the conference freshman of the year before that, doesn't matter. Everybody's going to qualify when they get back to campus. And I just think that makes everybody better. Then throughout the year, it depends. Sometimes we play, right now our first 2 events, we played 2 events back to back. So there wasn't really enough time in between events to qualify, to get a qualifier in, right? So we kept the lineup the same. Sometimes I'll have to make a change as the coach, but more often than not, when we have the opportunity and we have the time, I'm going to have the players have to earn it. I'm going to make them qualify. And I think part of what makes this the college experience valuable, the college golf experience valuable, is this qualifying. So we do some different things with our qualifiers. We'll change the rules. We'll make things a little more difficult to, again, provide just a more competitive environment. I'll give you an example. Today, we're going to play, we're qualifying today. Everybody starts from the white tees. You make a bogey, you move back a tee box. You make par, birdie, you move up. So just little things like that. We'll come back from an event, and like Stu said, we'll kind of look at all the stats and see kind of what's going on. In our case right now, the last couple of events we were at the top of the field, either the first 2 teams or 3 teams in birdies made, but we finished 3rd and 6th. We made a lot of mistakes. There was a lot of things we needed to clean up. So a lot of this qualifying the next week and a half is going to be structured around that to get better at those things that we're a little deficient at the moment. And this qualifying process is very difficult. You can go, for example, we do a worst ball game we have a short course. We have a par 3 course at our home facility. And we'll work on our irons, and we'll do a qualifier on the par 3 course where it's inside 135 yards, and we'll play a worst ball. Right. So little thing, and that's for qualifying. That's to get that's to get on the van to go to the tournament. Right. So there's a lot of pressure in that format, and it makes it a lot more difficult than when you go compete. And I think in this environment, this is the only environment where you can get that kind of competition, right? Because you can go out on a Tuesday and play with your buddy at home and play a 2-ball worst ball, right? But you can put everything you want on it. You can play for a Coca-Cola or a hot dog, whatever it is you want. But you can't replicate the pressure of trying to get into the lineup to compete at the next event, right? So I think if you have an open mind and you're willing to kind of go outside your comfort zone a little bit, qualifying can be a really good thing for you, make you more resilient, make you tougher, and prepare you for what's to come.
I do get a feeling that it's like a pop quiz in college. Like you don't know what kind of challenges coach will throw at you, and you get like evaluated all the time. So can I ask, like their performance in tournaments, does it affect the scholarship or financial aids that they are receiving?
You mean like while they're currently here, if they don't perform well? Is that what you're saying? Yeah. I mean, in our case, no. I take a lot of ownership in the players that we recruit. And if you're here, it's because I believe in you. And just because things aren't going well at the moment doesn't mean I'm just going to abandon you and go look for somebody else. I think as long as you put your best foot forward and show that you really care and that you're working hard and doing all the right things, I'll never push you out of here. If you're not doing those things well, if you're not, working as hard as you need to be working and really applying yourself, then that's a different story. But from a performance standpoint, that will never be the case. I've had players, our player that just won last week, we played at the Inverness Club, which is where they're going to host the U.S. Women's Open in 2 years. really difficult golf course. She just won by 6 shots. And last year, she was our 5th player and ended up getting out of the lineup for the conference championship. So she struggled a lot last year. And look at what she's doing now. So it's never what you do at the events. As long as you're working hard and doing all the right things, being a good teammate, and you're coachable, then you'll always have a spot here, and it won't impact your scholarship.
Mm-hmm. Can I ask quickly, do international students get the same scholarship opportunities like U.S. Students?
Yeah, they do. They actually probably get a little bit more here. We cover their health insurance as well at Kansas State for international students. Just it makes things a whole lot easier for us because we know that then
Right.
everybody, if they have an accident or something, they're taken care of. But yeah, we have the opportunity to give 8 scholarships per year. And we also have the ability to revenue share as well. We're probably one of the few women's golf programs that are actually using the cap that have revenue share money as well. We're a big university, but we have the minimum number of NCAA Division I sports, which means that, all of our sports are extremely well taken care of. You're not going to have 24 sports here. You're going to be, very, very well looked after because our football program is prominent. Our basketball program is prominent on the men's and women's side as well. So we're really lucky to have that. And the trickle down effect to women's golf's cool. We had a great year last year, and all of a sudden we've got a bunch of new women's golf fans who want to support us too.
Right. Actually, I have a time for one last question, and I would like to ask Lynn before we open up for the Q&A from the audiences. Lynn, how do you envision SJDT to be over the next 5 to 10 years, and how would that, you think will continue to shape the future of the junior golfers?
Well, we started in 2020, and that was when COVID hit Singapore, and our players were basically locked down. There were no other tournaments, and during that 2 years, we actually had a player who dropped to 83 in Wagga, and she got a full ride to Texas Tech, and she's now a 2-time winner on the LET Tour. So I think we got off to a great start. Hopefully this is where we're headed. We It's really inspired a lot of younger players, to show that it can be done. She never played in the U.S. She was lucky. She got a really good scholarship. She made it to Q School. And we had another player who's also from our tour, and she's in Wake Forest now. So I think that it's not such a disadvantage. So I hope that our tour can provide this platform whereby they'll be exposed to more college coaches, and we're doing the right things to get them ready, to get them recruited. And we have a big tournament in November, 9
It
to
looks like
12. It's called Singapore Junior Masters. We've got about 200 top juniors from about 20 countries. Hopefully one day, that's a tournament where, coaches will come over and if it's the right time, and they can come over and scout for players who traditionally do not get to go and play in the U.S. in the summer. So food for thought, guys. Stu and Marcelo, maybe a trip to Singapore soon. So that's our plan. Hopefully, we're a very young tour, but I think we've had a little bit of success. So hopefully we're heading in the right direction.
all right. Keep up the good work.
Thank you.
Let me
Thank
now
you.
open the floor to the audience. If you have questions, go ahead and turn on your camera and ask questions, or you can also type your questions in the chat box, and I will read it out for the coaches.
Sorry, coaches, what would be the scoring
And if no
average
one,
for a female golfer? If they are looking to be recruited, what should they be aiming for?
Lynn, that's a really hard one to answer just because of the
Oh.
different golf courses, tournaments, everything they're going to be playing in. You talked about the girl that shot 63 or was going to shoot 63. If she shot 63, 81, I would still be interested. Because sometimes as a college coach with your younger players, you need to think like somebody could in our qualifier shoot 75, 75, 75, and I have a coach's pick, but somebody shoots 71, 78, 74, and you got to think, yeah, that 75, 75, 75 might have been lower than the 71, 78, 74, but
Right.
I'm going to get two counting rounds out of the player that had the one higher round at the
Yeah.
tournament. So there's lots of factors that we're gonna figure in there. It's really a hard question to answer because every single coach is going to tell you something different because they've got their own system, they've got their own way they recruit, they've got their own way that they analyze the numbers.
Yep.
But ultimately for me, somebody that's got some under par scores, some over par scores, if they can take it really under par. And then obviously you're going to look at the swing video to see, okay,
Yeah.
technique wise, pretty consistent technique. Why have they got these higher scores? Then you'll start asking about putting, chipping, mental game. Um, you know, was it the 36 hole? Was it they just getting tired every single time on the second round that they're playing? And then really from there, we love doing Zoom calls. You mentioned the tournament in Singapore. Absolutely send me the information. The easier that you can make it for me to travel over there, like, hey, this is the golf course, this is where you would stay, this is the airport you'd fly into.
Oh,
Um,
we're 8 minutes from the international airport, and
it's
the
perfect.
hotel is
Yeah,
it's just from your hotel room to the first tee box is 5 minutes. It's the
that's
best
what I
two
like. I
places.
mean,
Yeah.
we build our schedule on that too. There's some really great tournaments um we were at one. We played at the University of Oklahoma's tournament and we were, 35 minutes from the hotel to the golf course every day. And that was the only downside for me of that tournament. It's a great course, it's so well run. We do something with a charity at it as well. Great teams, but I just wish the hotel was closer.
Yeah.
That's the only thing. So yeah, we think about all
Yeah.
those things. We're scheduling our own tournaments, so that information's great for coaches.
Okay. Look forward to seeing you soon.
I guess there are a lot of factors that coaches are looking at. I think that a whole lot of information. So be prepared for all those information. So make sure coaches get to know the best part of you. And also, I like when I think Stu said, right, what you do when no one's watching is something is that is important as well. But can I ask just quickly, you look at a lot of information. Is there anything that will be considered red flags to you? Like say, ha, this is not what I want. Nope.
I, these are all things that you kind of try and gently work out through the recruiting process. We generally invite the parents onto the call, maybe our third or fourth call. We'll tell the prospect, right up front, like, hey, we want to get to know you. We don't need mom and dad in the room. If they've got questions, they're gonna get an opportunity to speak to Coach Rinko and I, my assistant. And the one thing I'll tell everybody is your mom and dad are super important in this process because they're going to have questions that you've never even thought about. The logistics of, how you're going to get there. I mentioned health insurance earlier. They're going to need to know these things. And for you as a student athlete, I mean, I'm sure Marcelo felt the same when he was a kid, and when I was a kid and I was going through this process too, I was like, "Oh, Dad, please don't ask that. You're so embarrassing." But really, like, that's why we encourage the parents to be on the call further down. We want to see if there's any difference in the player when mom and dad are there. Are they more uptight? Are they more, and it really gives us an opportunity to get to know the player first, and ultimately we want to get to know the parents too, because they're going to be
Hmm.
here at some point. They're going to come for a tournament. They're going to come for graduation. They may be here more often than not if they've got the means to do that. So, we really want not just a player that we want to be around, but parents that are going to be supportive of our program and understand what our non-negotiables as coaches are as well.
Yeah. I guess it's important that parents are in the process. They should ask questions that they will make sure that, it's that fit, the kids fit the college as well as the parents. Is this a good place for them? And information like when I heard Marcelo talk about that you have part three, you know, on college nearby, that makes me feel comfortable if I'm going to make it there. Now some places may say you might need to travel or commute to the practice grounds, and that's would that be a concern to them, or would they prefer that kids has that independence? I think these are the details that it's important that you guys get to know each other, both sides. So I don't see any questions from the audience, so I will have, should I like count to three, then I'll start asking more questions. Okay, if no one asks any questions, I have one more questions for the coaches. Have you observed what kind of careers that your students, your golfers take after graduation? What do they do after they graduate?
I think it really depends on the player. I was really fortunate when I was at the University of Southern California. Like pretty much our whole team is now playing on the LPGA tour. So, that's what their next step. Funnily enough, Alison Corpus was the only one that was kind of swithering whether she was going to go and work for a major firm in Los Angeles or she was going to go to Q school. My time at Tulane, we've got a lot of girls that have gone on to be in the financial sector. Really everything from, doctors to lawyers to artists to, that's really been the kind of unique part of it. I'm in my second year at Kansas State, and every single player that's graduated has turned professional, and been, you know, is playing at the next level, with varying degrees of success. Carla's at stage one of Q school right now. Haley Vargas is playing on the WAPT tour. So for us, that's really rewarding because in a short space of time, you can see that's their goal. I always say to players, if you're going to turn pro, turn pro right after you graduate. It's if you go start working, you're not going to have that opportunity to practice the same way and go back. Um, Give it a go. If you really want to be a professional, give it a go. Be realistic, but if you're in a good spot, if you come here, you work hard and you play, you're going to be in a good spot to at least give yourself an opportunity to play for a living.
Yeah. Marcelo?
Yeah. For us, a little bit of everything. I've had the luxury of having a few players to go on and play professionally, and a lot of the ones that don't, they end up for the most part in the athletics world, in the golf world. I have two players, one that works for the DP World Tour, and then one that works for the LET Tour, for the Ladies European Tour. I've got a former player that's in college athletics now. She's an administrator. I've got another player that's becoming a national team golf coach. So a little bit of everything. Again, I think you have a lot of options once you graduate here. The goal, we're trying to recruit players, obviously, that have the aspiration to turn pro one day. I think the desire and the work ethic is a little different when that's your end goal. So those are that's what we're looking for. But realistically, not everybody's going to end up playing on tour or making a career of it. And this gives you a great platform, a great foundation to really go on and have success in other careers. And if golf is your passion, there's plenty of jobs in the golf industry.
That's great. I guess that's a great conclusion for our discussion tonight. It has been great pleasure talking to you guys. So I hope the audience, you learned a few things and back up a lot of inspiration. On behalf of Mazda Thailand and partners, I would like to thank our coaches and Lynn again for spending valuable time with us and give us insightful information. As I'll give a and to Coach Burke from Kansas State University, Coach Marcelo Huarte from University of South Alabama, and Singapore Junior Development Tour CEO Lin Yo. Tune in again tomorrow for day 8 of Mazda U.S. College Prep webinar. Tomorrow at 8 p.m. you will be meeting Coach Kim Llewellyn from Wake Forest University. Stephen Hornsby, founding owner of College Prep Golf Tour, and IPGA Golf Director Alex Smith of the International Preparatory Golf Academy. At 9 p.m., you will be meeting Coach Emily Maron from University of Central Florida, Coach Erin Fay from Bowling Green University, and Stephen Wang, founder of Taiwan International Golf Academy and Junior Golf League. These are all valuable partners, and I would like for you all to come back again. Please follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube in order not to miss great contents and get in touch with us. Our contact information for Kun Jum and Kun Tan is on your screen. And as for tonight, thank you all, and goodbye. Thank you, coaches.
Good night.
Thank you, Coach.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lynn.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye.